Hey guys, welcome back to another weekly forecast. Before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button and leave a like on this video because we are trying to grow this elite empire. And as you can see, we are growing very nicely indeed for the time we're being active. Right. Okay. So let's quickly talk about what last week's forecast was, and then we'll go into what I'll be expecting this week. So last week, I was expecting price was around this NFP drop. So I was expecting if price continued to move its way down, then you would expect price to continue falling here. However, if price breaks above the NFP high, I would expect price to continue moving up. And that's exactly what it did. Price continued moving up. So well done if you got into the buys, because the buys were definitely the way. And I was then expecting price to get into the sell zone to have some sort of reaction. And as you can see, once price filled this imbalance area, price did have a reaction and fell to the downside. A lot of people were complaining about the stop loss size here, but when it comes to swing trades, right, what you could do is you can have your sort of 100 pip stop loss, but the idea is if you're entering as high as you possibly can, I wouldn't even expect it to go towards the stop loss if your setup is correct, right? We had imbalance to confirm. We had a 4-hour bearish order block as well, and price just tagged it. And then at the end of the US session, price ended up falling down. And that was enough to catch at least 200 pips there. So for those complaining about the 100 pip stop loss, we're not here to catch 20 pips from 100 pip stop loss. We're catching a 1-to-1, if not a 2-to-1. So even if you're risking 1% on 100 pips, you still possibly end up making at least 1.52% back. So yeah, that's that. And once price continued to move back up, right, this is where you either have your stop loss at entry, okay, so you're either secure, because what I expect is when price enters one of my sell zones or my buy zones, if we go back to that area is not gonna hold the next time it gets there. Sometimes it does if it wants to ping pong it in the market. You see gold do this quite a lot, right? And this could be your sell zone, this could be your buy zone. But in this case, price actually came back up and completely destroyed it. And if you guys are confused on why price continued moving up and why there was a lot of chaos in the markets late last night, I've got a message here from Forex News Fundamentals. Great channel. Make sure you guys follow them. Information shows that Russia is preparing to attack Ukraine before the end of the Winter Olympics at 6:37 p.m. UK time. This is the main thing that actually spiked the uncertainty in the market, and basically gold just skyrocketed, right? 3 US officials have told NewsHour that the United States believes that Russian President Putin has decided to attack Ukraine. So everything was going crazy. Gold was on the rise, Euro USD, everything else was dropping. Okay. And a lot of people started panicking because, a lot of people were in this sell from this area here. As market was dropping here, everyone was in sells. They thought this thing was going to fall, go towards the, 1680 in just one big candle. They were stacking up positions. But for me, right, this wasn't at my sell zone in the time. Okay. So my sell zone was a little higher, just around about this area here. And price reached that, if not at 4 p.m. So this was against my plan anyway. So I didn't trade any of this. I just closed the markets. It was a Friday. Anything that happens later is just all freaking manipulation. But it's been a long time since I've seen gold react to anything major fundamentally other than inflation and rate hikes. Because that's the only main thing that's been moving gold at a volatile pace, is just to anything to do with inflation. Other than the last time we had was COVID. Okay. So this is the move that we had in COVID. And now we're getting some sort of push to the upside here. So now let's talk about what we'd be expecting going in next week. I've been having a read of this article, right? Just wanted to get an understanding of what other people are also thinking, right? But something stood out to me here. So it's way too early to say today's $35 rally and push through the top is a breakout, but it's worth keeping an eye on because a lot of people are looking at this weekly wedge pattern here and are suggesting that this is the breakout and it's now time to go to the moon on gold, right? So my inclination isn't necessarily to long gold on a Russian invasion of Ukraine, because we know that Biden and Putin are going to be talking today, right? So if Russia is hit by harsh sanctions, it could have to dip into an enormous gold reverses to prop up its currency. So I'm certainly cautious of this angle, because technically gold is like, it needs to sell, right? Everyone's waiting to sell and everyone's freaking blowing their accounts from selling, right? However, on the other side, if oil and gas prices spike, it will be a brutal shock to inflation, and meaning that, inflation rates have to increase even more, which, leaves gold as a safe haven. And we all know what inflation does to gold. It basically, gold starts shooting up to the moon. So my expectations going into next week is, technically it's in my daily sell zone, as you can see here. What I'll be expecting is for price to sort of pull back. We could have a supply and demand flip here where this sell zone becomes a buy zone. Price will pull back initially. If it does, be sure to see if you can get some buys in, because I'm sure buying is the way as of now. If price stops just below this area or wherever, we create a high on Monday, because Monday is going to be very important, because, after the talks, we will see how the market reacts. And if price starts to fall and Russia somehow need to, remove their troops back out, price will continue falling down. But for now, I'd say buys are the way. So if price pulls back down, just take some buys, keep the risk at a minimum. If your buys get stopped out, then just wait and see what happens to the market, because there's no point rushing into this market. This market is now volatile. It's best to even reduce your risk now, because we haven't seen gold like this for a while, especially driven by fundamentals such as war, which is a major thing. So in summary, expecting some sort of healthy pullback at least, because it was a Friday run. Maybe Asia might start pulling back down, Asia and London, and then price can get into a certain area where maybe US want to buy this position back and to push market higher. The key levels are, if gold breaks above 1870, then we could potentially see 1900. And I know it hurts me to say that, just because of how long we've been waiting for gold to push down to 1680. Could this be a major fake out? It possibly could be, where price pushes outside of this wedge at 1900, and then we get some sort of big move to the downside. So just keep your options open, stay safe, and keep your risk managed all times. Whenever you get into a good amount of profit, please, please, please set a break even and take some partial profits, because I have a lot of people who are saying that they were in sells at this area here, right? And somehow they still held their position while price is up here and their account's about to blow. Like, how does that possibly happen, guys? Look, price moved how many pips from this area? So if you entered around this area, price dropped 80 pips. I'm sure something might have been taken, some profit at least, and your position should be secured, because if price drops 80 pips, you'd expect it to continue falling down, right? If it comes back, that's a problem, right? Because that means that there's no institution here. There might have been an institution here. Okay. So that's all that I have for the forecast. So yeah, let's just be on the lookout for this. It's going to be a hard one to call. I'll expect some sort of pullback to start. We might get some sort of this to enter a sell position, and then price entering some sort of support at this area to either push market up or give it some sort of reaction to continue its way down. So that's what I'll be expecting. Again, if you enjoyed this video, do leave a like, and don't forget to click that subscribe button. I've got free channels and VIP channels all linked in the description. Be sure to check them out, because we are growing and this is definitely becoming an elite empire. Peace.